okay, speaking of posturing, Governor Cuomo is no longer. He is now former Governor Cuomo. As of midnight, his former lieutenant governor, Kathy Hochul, is now governor of New York. Cuomo delivered quite the classic Cuomo farewell address yesterday, where, of course, he praised his own competence. He made sure to take some shots at the left in there just for good measure. He even, Saagar, and you would have appreciated this, he went on a relatively lengthy diatribe about the SALT tax, got that into the farewell address as well, and of course had to, in classic fashion, pat himself on the back for his magnificent coronavirus handling. Let's take a listen to that.
Please don't forget what we learned together last year, and don't forget what we accomplished. We went from the highest infection rate in the nation to the lowest. We did what no one thought could be done. Why? Because when the rest of the nation put their head in the sand and denied science and played politics, we faced up to the facts. And we made the tough but necessary decisions.
That is very
Saagar,
difficult to
what
stomach.
did you think of his coronavirus handling, Saagar?
That makes me so angry, because even on his way out, he still has to lie about his own administration, which did all of the nefarious things which the media was accusing other governors of doing. They actually covered up deaths. They actually covered up their own culpable actions, which led to the deaths of thousands of nursing home patients. They lied to the federal government. They obfuscated to the public. They lied to the media. I mean, they wrote a book in June of 2020, patting themselves on the back after holding these triumphant press conferences when they were actually the worst in the nation in terms of the way that they were handling this crisis. And so even on the way out, the revisionist history. And that's part of the thing that, just sticks in my craw over this entire situation. Look, is it good that he's gone? Yes. It's some final accountability. But he should have been gone many, many months ago. Assemblyman Ron Kim, who really is the person who's been at this forefront from the very beginning, was calling him out about nursing homes back in April of 2020. And then, when the Me Too stuff all comes to the fore, that's what he starts to get investigated for. That's ultimately what brought him down. And I'm not erasing the experience of many women, and I certainly think that he was an absolute creep in the way that he handled himself, especially with that female trooper. That's the one that will always stick with me. However, in terms of the actual conduct that he displayed in office, what he did with his handling of coronavirus was the worst offense possible. And the media just didn't, they gave him a pass. At the end of the day, he got a real pass. That's the worst part of it.
The only thing they knew how to cover was the Me Too stuff. And like you said, that's not it was enough. I mean, if that was the only thing he did wrong, in my opinion, that was enough for him to have to go. But by ignoring all of the rest of the many acts of corruption, indifference, callous, just horrific decision-making that led to loss of lives, covering up the numbers, lying to the public about how bad things were in nursing homes and in the state writ large, the fact that that didn't garner coverage and that wasn't enough for the media to put pressure on him ultimately to go means that he's able to deliver this little speech with a straight face about how magnificent his coronavirus handling ultimately was, because the media did not do the job of educating the public on what an absurd, catastrophic lie that ultimately is. So, look, will he be able to make a political comeback? Who knows? Who knows? But by failing to educate people about his most egregious crimes when he was governor, they leave that little crack of a door open for him to come back and say, I've changed. I know now not to be so handsy. Forgive me. I'm just Italian. And don't you want me back in the governor's mansion where I was so competent and so effective that I won an Emmy Award? There's a real cost. There's a real cost to the fact that the media ignored all of those crimes. And we will recall the media's coverage of Governor Cuomo that helped build him up into this national celebrity. He was the good guy and Trump was the bad guy, and they really leaned into this narrative. So with him now officially out the door, we wanted to roll the tape one more time, for old time's sake, of how the media beclowned themselves with this guy.
David, we're standing by for Governor Cuomo's press conference, his daily briefing. How would you contrast Cuomo and President Trump's handling of the crisis?
Truth versus mendacity.
Governor Cuomo out there day after day after day, everything Trump isn't. Honest, direct, brave.
Real leadership of the kind the President of the United States should have provided.
Governor Cuomo is clearly living in a totally different reality, the actual one, than the President of the United States.
Governor Cuomo has become a national leader.
For a lot of people, Andrew Cuomo has become the leader of the Democratic Party.
He is conveying incredible strength.
You spoke to National Guard troops today in a stirring speech that, if I wasn't listening carefully, I thought you were sending soldiers off to war.
This has been a remarkable show of leadership by Governor Cuomo in recent days. He's providing hope, but not false hope.
Governor Cuomo, I think, is one of the heroes on the front lines.
With all of this adulation that you're getting for doing your job, are you thinking about running for president?
Andrew Cuomo, who has a daily television show now and has become in some ways the shadow president.
Maybe Trump is just a little bit mad that Governor Cuomo has become a kind of acting president.
Dealing with hardship actually makes you stronger. That's what Governor Cuomo said earlier today. That's what I'm going to go teach my kids right now at home.
Oh my God. Oh, I can't ever watch that.
It never gets any better. That's what I'm going to go and teach my kids, dealing with hardship.
Thank you, Branson. The media's janitor, buddy.
Yeah.
But we would be remiss if we did not highlight his final and worst crime. So let's put this up there on the screen. This shows how much of a monster he is. New York Magazine, cold-hearted Cuomo ditches his dog at the governor's mansion. So Governor Cuomo has been asking his staff members whether they want to take his dog off of his hands and left the dog behind at the house after he moved out. Now, look, it is hard to have a rescue dog and all of this, but what we're seeing here is this guy basically was using this dog for media purposes. Now that he no longer needs to be a politician with a nice dog and all of that, he's trying to both pawn it off, not only on his staff, but leaves it behind at his own house. And as a dog person, this is the cheat. Like, if you really want to look at how, the character of people, whether you like dogs or not, like, to be able to leave an animal behind cold-hearted and then try and just pawn them off on people after you got what you needed out of them, it makes me sick in order to see that.
It's pretty revealing. Like, it may seem like a small thing, I guess, but it really is very revealing of a person's character. Captain is the dog's name. Captain was featured in his Instagram account, in official photos. He was used as a prop. Okay? This dog. Used as a prop by a monster who's now happy to just conveniently discard him when he no longer needs him to serve in that role and purpose. It just shows you what a phony this guy was. The entire image of, like, I'm the competent strongman here to protect you, all of that was completely phony. And, the media and the public, ultimately led by the media, completely fell for it. This guy's approval ratings up until very recently, sky high. People were talking about, they're going to swap him out for Joe Biden. Democrats are going to run him for president. Is, certainly if after Biden serves, he was all set up to be the next Democratic nominee after Kamala Harris does whatever she wants. I mean, this guy had it made. And the whole thing was a complete and phony lie. Just like he used the dog Captain, he used the people of New York for his own glory. And it was completely disgusting to watch.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I just have no words. And actually, I do want to say there is a large increase in people taking dogs back to the shelters now that COVID is over, because they're like, it's actually more work. That also just makes me, it's just using these animals. Like, if you're going to adopt a dog, as I did, like, you're in it for the long haul, and that's just how it goes.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.